and they'll be open to anybody who wants to walk in the door and pay. And it's the only place on campus all you care to eat. So we're excited about it, and we appreciate you all being here, taking the time to come in and check it out. So if anybody has a question, I'd be happy to.
What does this mean, having this kind of facility for your student athletes?
Oh, we hired a sports nutritionist a couple of years ago because all of our students need to learn. We all need to learn how to eat better. And now with this, a place we can actually come in and fuel them properly with our nutritionist is going to give us a great advantage, not just athletically but socially, and teaching our students how to dine and eat properly to fuel themselves. And we plan to work in partnership with Human Sciences and use their graduate PhD students that are in either nutrition or dietitians to be here as well to help all the other students that come in. Our guy will certainly help, Scott will certainly help if available, but to help all other students that may have some kind of special dietary need. All those things, housing, dining, all those things are matrix on retention when you look at universities and retention, particularly from your freshman to sophomore year. So we want to keep making sure that we're able to do that, and specifically from an athletic standpoint, this is an unbelievable recruiting tool. Now we had a student athlete, a prospective student athlete in here not long ago, and the parents began to talk about how they've been to other places and began to talk about how this was unbelievable because their son or daughter could live right across the street, their study facility was right across the street, eating here, working out in one of the two facilities here, and then their venue to compete was within a half a mile or so. So it makes a big difference. This is definitely a game changer for us.
Jay, what are some of the early budgeted numbers as far as both revenue and cost? What are you expecting? Because you mentioned revenue generator. And
right.
What are some of the early? What do you expect to be some of the costs of operating this facility?
Okay, good question, James. First of all, we're not exactly sure what the revenue piece will be. It'll all be driven by the number of people walking the door. But when we sold out to all the students within just a few minutes that we could take, that's a pretty good indicator. And I think maybe that you can attest today by the food that you've eaten, it's pretty good eating. And so, so the revenue piece, with how many people take advantage of renting the facility and using it for special events, we'll see. But from the expense piece, when we started this a couple of years ago, we weren't real sure. But over the last year, with the possibility of legislation changing, we actually upped our student aid to our student athletes support $750,000 just for this year alone, to be able to cover the meal portion of it. And we don't know where that's going to end up, but that's what we've done here. We know that from a pro forma standpoint, if we just operate with our student athletes and minimal other business, $750,000 will definitely cover that. Is that helpful, James? What else?
So is this
yes,
a
sir.
meal plan for the athletes? In other words, are they automatically here for their meal plan, or could you talk about them as opposed to other students? How does that?
It's some of both. Doc, it's some of both. Not all student athletes get all meals. You may have a equivalency student athlete that gets a portion of a scholarship, and you'll be able to come in and our student athletes will be able to get whatever portion they'd like. So it'll just depend on the individual. What we're planning right now is for the student athletes to live in the residence hall. They'll all eat all of their meals here, and there may be some guys or girls that are seniors, and they may live off campus. They may only eat breakfast here, or buy the meal plan for breakfast or lunch or some combination thereof.
Was this privately funded, bonds?
A little bit of both. It was done through debt service, and now we're out doing like we normally do and raising funds to offset the debt service.
6.6 million.
That's right.
Jay, this was something that feeding athletes and feeding them unlimited, which is now passed, that was really something that was a big talking point for you for the last year plus.
Right.
There's already been some athletic directors who come out and voice privately, at least, seeing what the numbers are going to be, and have said they may not be able to pull that off at the FBS level in the formerly BCS conference level. Do you expect that to be an autonomy issue now? Now it's just been approved. It hasn't even gone into effect yet. But you've already got colleagues who are saying, hey, we're not going to be able to afford this. Are you worried that something that's just about to change may not last very long in some effect?
Let me try to answer your question. I'm not 100% sure I understand it completely. But number one is that long before there was autonomy and talk about feeding the kids differently, I had a vision to do this, and we budgeted for that appropriately so that we could do this for our student athletes. So however the legislation we all decide to vote, whether that's the Big Five, the 65, or whatever it may be, then we'll look at that. But as far as this wellness kitchen goes and what Auburn's going to do for its student athletes, this is it. And I don't see it going backwards, James, where we have to say we can't feed you a meal. So it is an expense issue. But I tell you this, to fuel our student athletes is expensive. And so that's what we're gonna provide for our student athletes. This is gonna be the place. Auburn Athletics is gonna be the best place that a student can come for the student athlete experience. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna put everything in place we possibly can, whether it's a place they live, whether it's a place they eat, their academic support, their mentors, their social skills, whatever it may be. We're gonna put in front of them the best opportunities, career development, so that the whole world knows that if you're a student athlete, you come to Auburn, there's no better experience in the nation. So however the rest of it shakes out, it shakes out. We're always going to do things from a business approach. And so 2 years ago, we planned this before there was any talk about autonomy. And we budgeted for it because we think it's the right thing to do for our young men and women that compete for us.
You started budgeting for it 2 years ago. You started thinking about.
Yeah, when we started with this idea, when we first, Brandon went with the dorm, the residence hall,
Right.
and there wasn't a way to really tie in the dining facility. And we looked around, where could we put it? We put it in the middle of that courtyard. We wanted where it could be accessed by faculty and staff and their fans. So we ended up here. And so at that time, when we started running the numbers in the pro forma,
Okay.
that's when we said, you know what? In order to us to be able to feed our student athletes all you care to eat, it's going to cost us annually as much as $750,000 extra.